Thanks, Chairman. Mr. Avery and Mr. Haifa, thanks for your testimony today. And also, if you could please pass back to your membership, we know that they're having issues with staffing across the board. We know that there are great guys and gals out there in highway barns across this state that are getting the job done every single day. And they're not just doing it for a paycheck. They are literally taking care of their towns, villages, and county roads every single day to keep us all moving. I certainly don't take it granted when I drive here to Albany across town, village, county, and state roads. So thank you for the 87% of the highways that you take care of for our state. On behalf of the citizens of the state of New York, I just feel like I needed to say that, and please pass that along to your membership. So, Mr. Avery, you mentioned federal dollars for hitting some of those checklist items for DOT complete streets. What kind of federal incentives are there for you to complete a complete streets program or project, rather?
We just completed our Water Street project in downtown Elmira, which was a federally aided project, so 80% federal, 15% state Marchicelli funding. And any project that's federal like that, we do incorporate complete streets features. For example, in this we had curb bump outs, we had center medians. And you may not think of this as complete streets, but it really is. We put in back-in diagonal parking in one area, because if you're a cyclist coming down a road and a car is trying to back out into a lane, that's a recipe for getting hit. So being able to pull into the lane is critical so that you can see if a cyclist is coming, because they're not as visible, even with backup cameras that today's cars have. It's hard to see a cyclist coming down the road. We are thinking about the people that are walking and biking in addition to the cars, because the easy statistic to put out there, if a child gets hit at 30 miles an hour, chances are they aren't going to survive. So we want to do whatever we can to ensure that, one, the vehicles are going slower where they need to, but two, we don't put a child in a position where they're going to get hit, even at 30 miles an hour.
Was that, not to get into the nitty gritty, but I mean, this is pretty comprehensive, and we're talking a lot about local governments and our interplay there and what our state lane to stay in here is. So that project in Elmira, was that part of Elmira's comprehensive plan or master plan, or was it driven from the planning side, or did the complete streets extras, all the great safety measures that you're talking about, did those come in as a result of federal policy and 80% funding being available, and then the city said, oh, we have a real opportunity to do some of these things here? Which direction did it go?
Both. It was certainly driven by the fact that we had access to federal dollars, but that project came in about $600,000 over our estimate just because of timing, and the city realized the importance of it and used their own money to pay for that. So I think there is a realization amongst all the different political entities across the state that this is important. It's not everybody is equally positioned to take advantage of it, though.
Have you, in your experience, and I know you lead the county very well, or any of your colleagues, have you seen projects out there that have had an incentive that sort of went unused? Like my colleague from Long Island was talking about bike lanes that just haven't really been used. Maybe the planners or the consultants, or when we put this project together, we just kind of missed it a little bit, and the street was, I don't want to say more complete than it should have been, but there was an add-on that they just kind of missed the mark on. Have you seen any examples of that?
I think, and it's quite germane to the example in Long Island, is that bike lanes that aren't designed right, don't have separation, aren't used. You risk getting hit by a car opening their door from a parked car. You risk the grit on the road. We need to do a better job designing the bike lanes so that they can be used and used appropriately.
Have you seen any examples of something getting built that was completely, and you talked about Elmira's project, sort of tweaked off of the comprehensive plan of the city, maybe added a little bit to it? Have you seen any that were just, this wasn't a part of the master plan at all, but there were federal dollars available So we said, you know what would be great for this project? Boom, bike lane on this road. You seen examples of that?
Yeah, we've done that.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
you've seen it directly under,
We've done it in Elmira, and sometimes they get used, and sometimes they don't, but we're still trying to put opportunities there. Even if it's not used all the time, you're trying to create opportunities.
thanks very much. I don't know if you want to chime in at all on the town end. Have you seen any complete streets that have
Well, I mean, it's-
gone outside of the,
I think what you end up doing is like on 378, which is in Colony, you've got a reconfiguring for really traffic calming. So you're taking what was a 55 mile an hour, four lane, two directions highway. You're taking down to one lane, making it 45 miles an hour, and then they have a bike/walk lane. As Andy was saying, I don't want to walk or ride next to 45 mile an hour live traffic. It takes one person looking at a cell phone for a second and whap. So, those type of standards are incredibly important for usage. They're incredibly important for safety, and there's a place. I mean, absolutely, we need to have both, but you need to do it in a safe way, not just so you can say you did it because there was funds available, I went and spent the money.
thanks. I just want to conclude. So, Mr. Avery, I'm also a cyclist. Right now, the city of Watertown, I live on a block that has a bike shop that is utilizing complete streets that we passed when I was on the Watertown City Council. They're doing back-in parking on a street that has been a one-way with parking in the opposite direction. It's awesome. It also fits directly into the comprehensive plan that the city has put forward for a long time. But Chairman, I would say, and this is one of the biggest, I won't occupy a lot of the microphone today, one of the biggest points that I want to make is that the elected officials, the planners, the engineers, the highway supers that do this job every single day, they're the ones that have to have the buy-in, and they're really getting there. They understand the principles of complete streets. They also need to be the driving force of the policy. Because when we incentivize, whether it's at the federal level and say we're going to 80% fund this program as long as you check all of these blocks, well, guess what? Then all of the handicap ramps you ever wanted or didn't want on that road, they're going to get there. And all of the bike lanes that you wanted, magically, they're going to appear. Because when you attach dollars to it, you'll incentivize that thing. But it needs to be driven not from the dollars from on high, from Washington or here, but from what our town highway superintendents, what our county highway superintendents, what our village DPW leaders are saying, and what the planners and comprehensive plans have laid out in all of our municipalities that handle 87% of the roads in the state of New York. So with that, thank you for your testimony, and thanks for the time, Chairman.